Today I'd like to take us through a little journey through chapter 9 of the book of Judges as we're learning about Abimelech, who is the first king of the people. Um, as the Israelites were there in Canaan, the tribes were in different locations. So when we talk about a king at this point in the journey, the people are settled in the land. They're getting comfortable in the land, but they're surrounded by a lot of different tribes, and so there's battles over land, water rights, all sorts of disagreements. So it's helpful for them to have a king, but it's not a king in the sense that he's uniting all of the tribes together. It's kind of a localized kingship of a few of the tribes getting together and saying, well, Abimelech, we're going to need your protection. Because we're afraid of invasion, we're afraid of trouble from those who are surrounding. Abimelech, in some ways, you would say, is not the best choice. I mean, he's just killed 70 of his brothers. The youngest of the brothers, Jotham, escapes. And he's just given us in chapter 9 the story of the trees. So the olive tree asks, must I give up my rich oil? And so doesn't want to be head of all the other trees because that wouldn't be good because his oil is what makes him special. The fig tree doesn't want to give up sweetness and doesn't want to give up the good fruit because again that's what makes the fig tree special. But the buckthorn says, no problem, I'll be the head of the trees, come and take refuge in my shadow. So Jotham is giving us a little parable about, well, sometimes when you choose the leadership, you're not always getting what you want. You're not always getting the best. And Jotham is saying, my older brother Abimelech, who killed all my other brothers, this is not going to be really a good choice in the long run. So that's his little parable. And they're afraid that fire will come forth and devour the cedars of Lebanon. So that is the idea that, well, if we don't take some sort of action, there could be a real danger. Of course, the fire is symbolic of another tribe, one of the Canaanite tribes coming and taking over the Israelite areas. So Jotham is saying, really, this is not going to be good to be a king. It usually falls to the worthless to be the king, not really somebody who is outstanding a lot of times. The buckthorn, for example, cannot even furnish shade, and it is dangerous because it easily catches on fire and burns rapidly. Thus, it can even destroy stately trees like the cedars of Lebanon. So if you pick this um, buckthorn to be your head tree, it's it's not going to work out too well for you because there could be fire, and the fire, even those cedars of Lebanon that you wanted to destroy from fire by having a tree over everything, this isn't going to work out well because the buckthorn is going to catch fire. And when it catches fire, it's going to destroy even those cedars of Lebanon. So when you choose a king, Jotham is saying, you can either get something that is very dangerous. The buckthorn can be very dangerous because it catches fire. Or it can be very worthless because the buckthorn provides very limited shade. So you're not going to get somebody good. And he's particularly referring, of course, to Abimelech because he doesn't think Abimelech is going to help. So Jotham tells the people that if they appointed Abimelech in good faith and with honor towards Jerubbaal, the father, then they should rejoice in Abimelech. If not, he says, then fire will devour the people in Shechem and Beth Millo, and fire will also destroy Abimelech. So this is Jotham's little prophecy that is based out of his parable. So we'll see what happens. See if Jotham really is a prophet and proves to be true, or if Abimelech reigns supreme. Jotham, though, makes a very prudent move. He knows that Abimelech has destroyed all the other brothers, so he's saying, well, I better watch out for this guy Abimelech. We destroyed the 70 others. He's obviously going to come after me, so I'll go in hiding. A very wise and prudent move on the part of Jotham. He was very much afraid of Abimelech, and then, of course, all his brothers were killed. So Abimelech was king for 3 years. And then the citizens of Shechem rebelled against him. They said, we don't like what this guy's doing. Let's get rid of him. The citizens tried to ambush Abimelech. They also robbed those who passed by. They took up position on the mountaintops. And in taking the position, Abimelech would be denied the money that the caravans would have to pay to pass through. So in this particular area, caravans would come. If you were on the mountaintop, you could demand tribute from the caravans. They would have to pay so much money. It's kind of like our tolling system. You have to pay a toll to pass through. So this was the toll that you have to go to pass through this area. And Abimelech now is being cut off from the toll because the citizens of Shechem are saying, well, we don't really want to follow him. We'll kind of do it on our own. So Gal, who is the son of Ebed, came to Shechem, and the citizens put their trust in him. They said, well, this guy looks good. Maybe he can take on Abimelech and end our problem with Abimelech. So they harvested their grapes, and they had a festival. Always a good thing. Get those grapes, you got the wine, you can a party, you can have a good time. And at the festival, they cursed Abimelech, and Gal said that, I'm going to fight against Abimelech. I will take care of him. So Zebul, who is the ruler of Shechem, sent messengers to Abimelech, because not everybody in Shechem was totally against Abimelech. Some, like Zebul, were like, well, he's our king still, and he's going to protect us. I kind of want to make sure I stay on the side of Abimelech, especially knowing what he did to all the brothers. I mean, I've got to be careful here. So he sends a message, and he says to Abimelech, bring your army now and fight against Gal. So Abimelech defeated them. Abimelech also attacked the citizens in the fields, and he captured the city, and he destroyed the city, and he sowed it with salt to render the ground barren and useless. So with the salt on the ground, that was it. They couldn't grow anything. All of the crops were ruined. So this was going to be really devastating for the people. Not only did it destroy the city, but when you go to rebuild, how are you going to make the land fruitful again? So Abimelech seems to be in control at this point, and Jotham's prophecy seems not to be true. But we will see what happens.